Broncos country, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. We got a doubleheader with Monday Night Football going on. Go NFC teams. But today we're going to take a look a few days removed from the blowout victory the Broncos had over the New Orleans Saints. Really go deep into who really stood out, how the team performed from a defensive perspective against the Saints. If you haven't seen my video on the offense, I posted it yesterday. Link is in the description. Of course, you guys join the conversation. Please be sure to like and subscribe. That will help get this out. And always appreciate y'all's feedback. And yeah, I'll run through my grades and take any questions, comments at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, as I pull this up, it's important to remember, I mean, we had a bad defensive showing against the Chargers. I think we could all say that. I mean, Justin Herbert had the best game of his season so far. We really struggled with tackling, and Pat Surtain got hurt. We never really recovered from that shock at the beginning of the game. So it was really important for the Broncos to come out here and have a bounce back performance. Like, no doubt about it. And I really do think we got that. Now, granted, the New Orleans Saints, they're like the most hurt team, like them and the 49ers. Just no, it's just all injury, bad luck. That's all I'm trying to say. So going up against a rookie quarterback, that was nice. This was a get right game, but this was a short week, and in New Orleans, a very tough place to play, and we held our own. I think we took the crowd out of it in that first quarter, second quarter, and then we didn't, we didn't need to look back at all. We were just straight up moving forward. So let's go ahead and get into the guys who really showed out, and I think you'll see like a lot of our guys who had uncharacteristically like below par games for what they normally have against the Chargers. 4 days later, you see them bounce back. And that's what a really good team does, is if they have a disappointing performance, they will come out and correct that. You'll see the effort, the focus level be better, and of course, just the fundamentals. So first off, I got to give a huge shout out here to Cody Barton. The man played 70 snaps as well as Levi Wallace. Insane. 70 total snaps. Cody Barton was our highest graded player. He, of course, had that. I don't know if it was ruled an interception or a fumble recovery, but he had, yeah, I guess it was a fumble recovery because they didn't give him the interception. But the scoop and score, I guess you would say, although he scooped it out of the air from Spencer Rattler there. But kind of interesting. He had 70 total snaps. Granted, they didn't run the ball much. So yeah, you didn't see Cody Barton get a ton of, he still led the team, I guess, in tackles, but sometimes we've seen him hit double digits. But 7 tackles on the day, 5 stops, so that's ending a drive on third or fourth down, and of course the touchdown was great in coverage, and even had a sack. This is very, very encouraging, guys. That with Pat Surtain out, it was important that we had everybody step up, and Damari Mathis getting in the game. Now only 2 snaps, but hey, he did his job, man, and that's what makes me happy. Had a really high defensive grade. I'm not really sure how the hell that works when you play 2 snaps, but and when you got grades in tackling and run defense. But hey, I'll take it. I'm here for the Damari Mathis hype season, baby. Gave up no receptions on 1 target, so was amazing. Shut down, locking them down, strapped. Damari Mathis strapped. Justin Sternad. Again, we had much better play from our linebackers today. We saw Justin Sternad and Quan Alexander kind of rotate in, I felt, but he had a good performance today in this game with 6 total tackles. Jaquan McMillan, 5 tackles. Our secondary was back to where we expected in terms of the tackling, no doubt about it. Yeah, he gave up 6 receptions, but only 44 yards on that. Like, you'll always take that. Again, Quan Alexander came in there with a nice tackle. There, I guess it wasn't a stop. I thought it might have been a stop. Nick Bonito, man, he has been so good. Another sack at it. 5 total pressures, 2 QB hits, 2 hurries, and 2 total tackles. Now, Granted, had a few missed tackles. He's going to have to correct that, but I think he'll get there. Malcolm Roche, I thought had a really nice game, although it didn't really show up on the stat sheet much. Zach Allen was dominant. I think he might have led us in total pressure, sack, 2 quarterback hits, 3 quarterback hurries, 2 tackles on the day. So John Franklin Myers, 3 hurries and a sack. Beautiful stuff. Continue to go down here. Riley Moss graded at a 66. Overall, he had 6 total tackles, and he gave up 5 receptions on 9 targets for only 41 yards. You'll take that. And Levi Wallace, not the best day for coverage. 52 coverage snaps, gave up 5 catches on 5 receptions, 64 yards. But again, you'll take it. We kept these guys out of the end zone. We did a fantastic job, absolutely. And then let's take a look here. Jonathan Cooper, 5 total pressures, wasn't able to get a sack, but that's okay. We were in the backfield constantly, and Baron Browning got on the field today and got 1 pressure as well. I guess, PJ Locke kind of graded bad in coverage today. He had 5 total tackles, which is great. Gave up 1 reception for -4 yards. So I'm not really sure why the heck he was given such a bad grade. I still need to watch the replay from the defensive side with that. But like overall, our defensive unit played so great. When you add it all up, guys, we had just a dominating performance. 30 pressures, 7 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 19 hurries. Phenomenal stuff. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. The defensive unit, Vance Joseph, credit to all these guys. They really bounced back and on a short week as well. And let's hope the Cardinals can take down the Chargers and the Bucks can take down the Ravens. Baker Mayfield's got to stop turning the ball over, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at the run defense grades. Of course, guys, take all this with a grain of salt. It's just 1 or 2 dudes taking a look at this, but it does provide, a frame of reference, a perspective on how players played. Again, leading tackler in the run game, Cody, Barton, Justin Sternad. That's what you want to see. You really want to see the defensive line holding their own, allowing the linebackers to go and attack, and that's definitely what we saw. Cody Barton leading the team in 2 stops on run plays. That was great. Let's see if there's anything else that really stuck out to me. Nice to see Jonah Ellis here with a good grade. Granted, only 4 snaps, but you'll always take it. 68.4. A lot of green here for a lot of our starters, and so that's always what you want to see. And shout out to Levi Wallace, 2 tackles in run defense, filling in for Pat Surtain. Let's go ahead and again take a look at the pass rush. John Franklin Myers was fantastic, along with Cody Barton. Got that sack, and he was in the backfield for that scoop and score at the end of the game. Nick Bonino, Zach Allen, DJ Jones, Jordan Jackson, our entire defensive line rotation on the 2 deep, they all played really, really well. I guess the only 2 guys that didn't have green grades were Jonah Ellis and Malcolm Roche. But I mean, we saw Jonah Ellis get in there. Yeah, had a sack, had a couple pressures, and hurry as well. So that was really nice. And even Riley Moss get a couple of pressures. So that's always really fun. Playing in this defense, I think, is really fun. Similar to Wade Phillips' defense here with the 2015, and I think he was here in 2016 as well with the Broncos. That was just such a fun defense to watch because everybody blitzed at some point or another. And it was a simple defense. We play a lot of man coverage. It's not the most crazy schematic defense, but where they do get crazy is on a lot of these blitzes, and that can be unpredictable on where they're bringing pressure from. And feel like Vance Joseph, his defense is kind of built in that same style, and so that's always the style I love. Forget this bend don't break defense, keep everything in front of you, whatever Vic Fangio type of stuff. Vic Fangio did a pretty decent job here with the defense, but I think we can all agree that the Wade Phillips defenses, that was something special. And I think this is great to see just us getting 7 total sacks, albeit against a banged up offensive line, right? But doing it without like a true alpha in the edge room. I think maybe pass rushing, Nick Benito is establishing himself as that, but I think that Jonathan Cooper is probably our most well-rounded edge right now. But we got a lot of guys that can rush the passer, and a lot of guys from the interior that can do the same as well. I mean, how good has John Franklin Myers been as an acquisition? We got him basically for free because the Jets mismanaged this whole Hassan Reddick thing. Crazy, man. It's just crazy. Let's take a look at the coverage as well. Again, I kind of already went through some of this, but Cody Barton, Justin Sternad, Jaquan McMillan, Quan Alexander, okay, 12 coverage snaps, graded out really, really well. So that's cool to see. Who led us in stops in passing? Hey, Justin Sternad, awesome to see. Riley Moss with 3 stops, Jaquan McMillan with 4, Cody Barton with 3, PJ Locke with 2, Brandon Jones with 2. So overall, just a dominating performance, guys. No doubt about it. 33-10. This is what you want to see. And only three penalties? Yeah, man. I thought we had less than that. But hey, it is what it is. This is something that we need to build on. We need to take care of business against Carolina. We cannot be looking ahead to Baltimore, Kansas City. Those 2 games on the road coming up are really going to show us what this team is made of. We need Bo Nix in this offense to take another step towards being more consistent, right? Being better. And Carolina, let's hope that this is a game in which we can keep the momentum going on defense and also create some more momentum for us in the passing game. I was going through all Bo Nix's throws today. I'll have a film room on this tomorrow, but like that, I think he is closer than maybe the box score in that game reflects, right? I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I really like from Troy Franklin, Lucas Kroll, some of the reads that he was making. And again, it's just about calming down in the pocket, just calming down and making sure you got the footwork right. What's encouraging is that his brain is making the right decisions for the most part. We just can't have those airmail passes continue. We can't. But there was still a lot in the game against the Saints that I really loved from Bo Nix. So some great downfield throws that I thought he executed well. But those first couple drives to start off the game, they were rough, right? They definitely were rough. So let's get right against Carolina. Let's really put together a complete game because I think Baltimore is beatable, but we got to play probably the best football that we've played all year in order to beat them. Same with the Chiefs. These are both beatable teams, but being on the road, they do have higher in talent than we have. But any given Sunday, anything can happen. We can get these victories. We should be right in there in it. I think the defense is going to play well. It really just comes down to what version of the run game in Javonte Williams are we getting? What version of Bo Nix are we going to be getting? Can we start off hot on offense, right? That remains to be seen, but I think we're going to find out here very, very shortly. So I'll get to some of your comments and then I'll get back to this game. All right. James Conner, let's go. Oh, no, he fumbled. They got it. Let's go, Cardinals. Douglas Wall, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Really, really do appreciate it. Thank you for the cup of coffee. That definitely keeps me fueled and going. So thank you. And hope you're enjoying this long weekend. That the Broncos had off, enjoying this win extra. Sean Payton got that monkey off the back, taking care of that victory in New Orleans. And let's make sure we take care of Carolina, make sure that they look like the Carolina Panthers, right? We can't make them look amazing, anything like that. Let's not lose focus. Let's play good at home. Let's play good at home. Ooh, Trey McBride, baby. I love Trey McBride. But anyways, you said thank you, Dave, for all your great content. This upcoming home game, they should play up tempo the first half and use the high altitude to wear out their players. Lack of oxygen, hard to recover from. Hey, uh, I really like that suggestion. That would be pretty cool to see us come out because again, we've seen that Bo Nix does very well in the 2 minute in the no huddle when things are you're keeping the same personnel group on for that drive and then you're just going right. You're checking to a play if needed. And by the way, like, I really did love some of the checks Bo Nix made in this game against the New Orleans Saints. That was another thing that I really liked. Again, it kind of feels like Peyton Manning but in a different way, because Peyton Manning, even though he couldn't feel his hands much by the time 2015 rolled around, he wasn't throwing ducks too often. Maybe at the beginning of the season when he got a little banged up with that ankle or that foot injury, but his brain was still great, getting everybody into the right play. I think Bo Nix got everybody into the right play when you saw him checking at the line. That was awesome to see. In some of these plays, he was able to hit the throw, no doubt about it. The other ones, they were ducks. I think on that one that ended up in between the receivers that was almost picked off, I think he was trying to throw to the underneath guy, because it was kind of like a high low, and I think Vele was underneath, and I think he just airmailed it because his footwork was just out of place. Which normally on the run, I feel like Bo Nix has been pretty good, but he has to grow in stepping up in that pocket, being a little bit more comfortable. When the RPO stuff to Troy Franklin, we ran that like 2 or 3 times, and that really settled him down. And he had some of his most composed footwork during those things because he's so comfortable with running these RPOs, especially when Troy Franklin's on the other side too, right? So that was great to see. I think Sean Payton has still been learning how to uh, call the game with this offense. I think he's still learning as well. And I really did like how the game was called against New Orleans. Again, when you put up 26 points with the offense, we had 7, of course, from the scoop and score with Cody Barton at the end of the game. I mean, putting up 26 points, that overall that should get you a win in the NFL, and definitely with this defense, it should get you a win, right? So I think if we had to keep the pedal on the gas a little bit more in that fourth quarter, maybe the score is even higher, but it just wasn't necessary. I think Bo maybe only had 1 or 2 passing attempts in the entire fourth quarter, and that's how it should have been. You need to run out the clock, make sure we get out there, get out of New Orleans without having any more injuries, and we're at a really good point right here to where you get the offense feeling more comfortable against Carolina, and then you go into Baltimore. Again, kind of an inconsistent team. We'll see if they're able to hold on to this lead. They have blown leads in the second half in these games so far this year. They still, like for instance against the Cowboys, were able to hold on, but um, Baltimore's still a very good team, and I can't even remember the last time that we've beaten the Ravens in Baltimore. I feel like they've always had our number. The last victory I can remember that we had against the Ravens was at the start of 2014 with Peyton Manning throwing the 7 touchdowns. Can't remember if we played them after that, but that was at home. That was at home, and yeah, we always struggle against Baltimore, but I think that this team has proven that they can play well on the road, and so I'm not going to count us out at all. And I love the fact that we're probably going to go into those those games after Carolina as underdogs. Let's go in there, have our back against the wall. Again, I've just been very encouraged by how this team has played on the road, even though they haven't been able to win every single game on the road. I guess we have a better record on the road than we do at home, because I think maybe the only road game that we've dropped has been Seattle to start the season. I think. Let me go ahead and check here. Yeah, so Seattle loss, Tampa Bay win, New York Jets win, New Orleans Saints win. Yeah. So we are 3-1 on the road, and then we are 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss. We're 1-2 at home. So let's get back to 500 here against the Carolina Panthers. Let's make it a priority to get Bo Nix into a rhythm, because I think if we can do that, it's really going to benefit the run game. They're going to have to defend the pass, no doubt about it. Hopefully, we can get Josh Reynolds back. Uh, Maybe this week is a little too generous, maybe you hold him out that extra week and then he returns against Baltimore. But let's continue to see Devon Vele and Troy Franklin and Lucas Kroll develop. I like that. And I think all these guys are going to have a role on the team now. After this season, you got to go. And I'm even of the state of mind that I want us to go and trade for a big weapon, trade for Deontay Johnson, trade for somebody else. Shoot, even DeAndre Hopkins as a rental. I'm sure he'd rather be here than out in Tennessee. Will Levis, man. Mason Rudolph, no. Uh, I think Bo Nix, while he has been inconsistent at times, I think I would rather have, uh, you know, the situation where you're being coached by Sean Payton and you got a quarterback that I think is on the rise and that has shown signs of definitely being better than those Tennessee quarterbacks, don't you think? I think so. It was interesting. I saw on Facebook, or maybe it was like a DMVR post on Facebook, what would you grade Bo Nix so far through the season? We're at 4-3. I think we're right where we should be. Uh, you know, if we were 5-2, that would have been super ideal. I think we're gonna have to probably win a game that we shouldn't at this point in order to make the playoffs, with taking care of the Carolinas and the Clevelands and Indianapolis. Like, we need to take care of those games. But I think we might need to steal one against one of these tougher AFC opponents, like Baltimore or one of them from Kansas City, in order to make the playoffs. So DeAndre Hopkins could really help with that. I think I would love the idea of having Troy Franklin, Devon Vele kind of be your third and fourth wide receivers, and then you go and get some really big time stud wide receivers, maybe one through the trade market and free agency, and then another one through the draft. I think would be great, maybe with a second round pick, now that we finally have one of those back. I would still love for us to trade for a running back too. Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne. Like, I don't know if those guys are actually available. Roshan Johnson, you guys have brought up in the chat. Khalil Herbert. Bears got a ton of running backs right now. I would like it. Right now, we've had a running back pretty much fumble in every single game. So we gotta get some guys that can hold on to the ball. I think ETN has done a lot better of a job this year and last year compared to his first year playing. So we'll have to see, man. I know this was a super long-winded response, but yeah, let's get out to a fast start. Let's get Bo Nix in rhythm. Let's get this win against Carolina, and then let's go trade for another weapon. Regardless of how much of a clown show the New York Jets are, I do now. I guess this is more coming from Woody Johnson, and their GM he's in the final year of his contract, Joe Douglas, so he's not going to be renewed. Woody Johnson seems to be making these trades, for Davante Adams, getting the deal reworked with Hassan Reddick to bring him in. But I really do appreciate the aggressiveness that they've had, even though I feel like it's a lost cause. Right? And again, like, giving up a third round pick for a guy like Davante Adams, I would do that. I would do that. I don't know if we could afford him right now, and I guess they reworked his contract, but I am envious of the aggressiveness that they've at least been trying, and you can't fault an organization for trying bringing in those guys. But the problem is that the culture and the coaching, that is what's crazy. You also get Woody Johnson firing Robert Saleh probably way too early in the season, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Let's go make a move. Like, I don't want to be sellers at the deadline. I do feel like we kind of have a little bit of of a luxury right now at edge rusher, and Baron Browning. Could we dangle him as kind of a trade piece in a contract year for a wide receiver or a tight end in the contract year? That would be kind of interesting. I think that would be pretty fun. Again, I think Deontay Johnson's in the last year of his contract. Trying to think of who else is out there. Again, DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is in the last year of his deal. Hell, even Mike Williams, man. He's on like a vet minimum contract, and I'm a Mike Williams fan, but he might have hit that now that he's like close to age 30 or just turned 30. We saw that with Demaryius Thomas with those types of wide receivers. You kind of just fall off a cliff once you kind of hit that age. That might it might have happened. So maybe you don't bring in Mike Williams, but I love the aggressiveness the Bears had. Keenan Allen, bringing him in as like a third wide receiver. I know he's only healthy half the year, but I love it as a third wide receiver. Then you go and draft the guy from Washington that I'm blanking on his name in the top 10. And then you also pulled off that trade last year for DJ Moore. And, it didn't work out with Justin Fields, whatnot. I don't think they expected it to work out, but that was a move for the future because they knew that they'd probably have a top quarterback in this year's draft. And you want to put him around a ton of weapons, and including Cole Kmet. They drafted him, and I think that they've developed him really, really well. It'd kill for a guy like Cole Kmet on this team, man. I think that would be fantastic. So let's go make a move. Let's see what when these other teams are going to tear things down. We're getting close to it. Trade deadline, I believe, is here at the beginning of November. I think it's around week 9. So we got a little bit of time to figure things out. But I think if we win, oh man, wouldn't that be so great? We're at 5-3, 8 games through. We still then would have 9 games left on the season. And, to get to 10 wins, you just need to go 5-4. I think 10 wins gets you into the playoffs, especially if you have tiebreakers over Indianapolis. Cincinnati, although they might already be cooked. It's unfortunate we don't have the tiebreaker against Pittsburgh, which, by the way, Russell Wilson looked better in the second half. I'll definitely give him credit there. It came out throwing ducks. It looked rough. It looked rocky. But then, man, like Russell Wilson seemed like he had good chemistry there with George Pickens, reminded you of his chemistry with Courtland Sutton. George Pickens made some incredible catches, by the way, along with Pat Freiermuth. Man, and their second tight end, Darnell Washington, man, he would be a starter here. He'd absolutely kill it. Jawan Johnson from the Saints. Oh, can we trade for him? That would be great. But maybe we can dangle one of our draft picks that we have along with Baron Browning to get somebody really serviceable. The Bears, granted, I think they should have an offensive head coach for Caleb Williams, but you got to give them credit from the general manager side of things. They've given him a ton of weapons. And even at running back too, DeAndre Swift and all those other running backs, like he has a ton of weapons. Now the offensive line needs some work. But putting a bunch of weapons around your rookie quarterback, that's going to give them the most success. No doubt about it. D-Rock, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks again for all your comments. Sorry I didn't get to your comment, but I did read it about, not loving the offense like I had in my thumbnail. And I understand that. I loved it for, I think, probably what I was expecting for the most part. But we definitely need some more juice, man. And I love that you're bringing this up. Evan Ingram would be awesome. Affordable. I think he's under $13 million. Cleveland, they got to be looking to get rid of David Njoku. Now that Deshaun Watson's torn his ACL, they should be in full tank mode, trying to convince Deion Sanders that Cleveland is the place for Shador, which would suck. put Shador in the NFC, man. I don't want to see. It just sucked, man. Like the Raiders are always going to be the Raiders, right? Um, but I want to see them, be successful. And Raiders, Cleveland, man, I don't like it. But anyways, I'm on a huge tangent. Evan Ingram, yes. Hunter Henry, yes. Now I doubt Baltimore gets rid of Mark Andrews because again, like they've just done such a great job with tight ends. Isaiah Likely, what a find there in the 6th round from Coastal Carolina a couple years back. That dude's so good. Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid is that tight end 1 in Buffalo, and you don't want to be paying a tight end 2 a ton of money. That's why it's like maybe Mark Andrews. We'll have to see, but I think I love what Cortland Sutton's doing. I don't think he actually had a catch in this game, but overall, like I think he's provided good leadership, and he's made some great plays for us. But I think we all know that this is going to be his last year here. So, and I think like Marvin Mims, like right now, although I really liked how Sean Payton used him with especially in that first half, like that was pretty fun. I think like right now I'm just kind of out right now on projecting him to be a starting wide receiver for the team. Like maybe he's that 5th guy, ideally, that can come in there and give you great returns. You can be kind of a gadget guy that a lot of the motion that they ran with him, I think really did help the offense and Bo Nix on some of these plays. But it seems to me that Troy Franklin's already, um, this is all just based on my observation, so I need to like actually chart this. But I feel like Troy Franklin's already running like a larger portfolio of routes than Marvin Mims is. Like he's being trusted with more already. And maybe some of that has to do with Bo Nix. Maybe some of that's just Sean Payton, everybody knowing that, hey, you can kind of get Bo into a little bit of a rhythm having Troy out there. But I think Troy, whenever you're getting this type of production from a rookie 4th round pick, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I don't expect these guys to do anything. Same with Devon Vele. Like those guys have been absolute hits right now for where they were drafted at. But again, I feel like they're best for being like a 3rd and 4th receiver. Let's go get T. Higgins. Let's go get somebody else that's amazing. Deebo Samuel. Maybe he's a little bit old. I don't know. I mean, does he really fit what we want to do? Not totally sure. But yeah, there's a lot to be happy about, the foundation that they're building. But I think a lot of the guys that are getting the action through the passing game, they kind of need to stay as kind of those depth complementary pieces. If one of those guys develops into being an amazing top 15 wide receiver in the NFL, heck yeah, sign me up for it. I just don't see that. These are going to be complementary wide receivers, no doubt about it. And we'll see if we keep Josh Reynolds next year. I think he might have very minimal dead money if we move on from him. I think it's essentially a 1-year deal if we want it to be that way. So let's go get some big time weapons, man, for Bo. We enough with failing to do that. Like we failed over the years to go after solid wide receivers because, oh, let's see what Jerry Jeudy can turn into. Oh, let's see what KJ Hamler can turn into. Like all that. I'm kind of sick of waiting. I'd rather just kind of draft those guys and have them there as depth pieces, and let's go get some really proven receiving talent. Panthers getting the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, that's probably happening. We need to make sure we help them get there this Sunday. No doubt about it. Browns need a QB. We need a tight end. Zach Wilson, maybe. Nah, but they got one of my favorite quarterbacks ever. one of my favorite college quarterbacks ever, and somebody that I was really interested in having here as a bridge quarterback, Jameis Winston, man. I love Jameis Winston. I love him, man. He's so charismatic. I think he's a really good leader, and uh, he's won, and I think he had his best years with Sean Payton. Granted, it was kind of cut short due to those tragic injuries, tough injuries, man. But I thought he played really well with the Saints when he got his shot, and he would have been great, I think, for the locker room. Definitely helping run Club Dub as well. When we went on the road, so we'll see. Who Cleveland ends up going with. They might just go with the kid from UCLA. I'm blanking on his name right now. To as their tank commander, which is probably smart. You should probably just tank this thing right now if you're the Browns. But Jameis Winston, man, I want to see him have success. I really do. Even though I'm jaded by Joe Flacco's time here, I always like seeing him ball out when he gets the chance. As a backup quarterback, I think it's always fun, and then you can call him elite again. I'm joking, but I want to see Jameis have those moments. So now, would they appreciate a piece on defense like Baron Browning? I think they should. I think they should. They got some nice pieces on that Cleveland defense. What's up, Paul? Hope you're doing well. So many quarterbacks went down yesterday. Go Cardinals. That's right. Go Cardinals. My dad's actually at this Cardinals game. He lives in Phoenix. And the Cardinals are like his second team. He sent me this Broncos sign over the summer. I finally got it up here, which is really cool. And yeah, like, how the heck did we lose to those Chargers? I guess they were coming off that bye week, but dang, man, that hurts. And let's talk about Miami a little bit. I guess this kind of turned into an open forum. Again, let me know if you guys got any questions. Again, thank you, Douglas Wall, for the $5 super. It really means a lot. Let's talk about Miami, man. They need to go get a new quarterback. And I know Tua, when he's in the game, their offense is pretty good and has shown like really great flashes of being like a top NFL offense. But there's so much data now. You can't deny the fact that he just can't stay healthy. And then at this point, he's never going to say no to stepping away from the game. And I just think you might have to do him that service. I think you just might have to do that if you're the Miami Dolphins, man, because I truly am worried about his long-term health, just like I was with Wes Welker, man. I felt like he played for so long past where he should have with all of those concussions, and then he was wearing that big-ass helmet. Looked like a fat head, or like the big hat, and you got to wonder, how if he's going to be okay as he continues to age. I just don't want to see that for Tua. And I think it doesn't help, man, when you're always having to go from Tua to then a backup and another backup and whatever. And it's just a mess. I think I do like Mike McDaniel. I think that he's a quality head coach. But Miami, man, they've always kind of they need to change out the training staff, the nutrition, a lot of what Sean Payton has done here. Changing out the strength and conditioning, like all of that, because they've had so many injuries aside from Tua's concussions, and it's hard to maintain winning streaks when you just continually have to replace guys. So Zach Wilson, that would be cool to see him get a shot in Miami as like a bridge quarterback next year. Maybe you make that deal right now, just start right now. I think that would be really cool. Because I think Zach could be decent in that type of role, but I wouldn't be shocked if Miami makes a move for another quarterback. I think they should. It's a shame, that from the business side of things, I think they have a lot of guaranteed money tied up with Tua, and that just makes things difficult. But he's hurt so often now, and these things are only going to become more and more recurring as he continues to have these serious concussions, right? I mean, that's what the science points to. And, it sometimes you just got to bite the bullet, man, and understand that a move didn't work out. Like our Russell Wilson move seemed to work out well for the Steelers last night. How about that? Yeah, thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate that. It's cool. I don't even know where he got it, but it's really nice. And Paul says, "I love the Bronco banner. I felt bad for Tua." Yeah, man. Like I hate seeing him get hurt. And shout out to my father-in-law as well. He gave me this mini helmet about a month ago, and that was really cool. Remember when you go to the grocery store in like the '90s, and they would sell these things in the little vending machines outside? And then I also at an antique shop before I moved from Westminster a couple months ago, I got this Terrell Davis plaque celebrating his 2,000-yard season. And then you see the John Elway first Super Bowl title plaque right there in the back as well. That was really nice. So trying to still kind of complete the memorabilia that we got going on here. So looks like Herbert took another sack. This is great to see. Um, and I love it when the Cardinals wear their black uniforms. I always think those look really nice. Looks like Baltimore is totally pulling away from Tampa Bay. So that's unfortunate. I think you'll see both Baltimore and Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Wouldn't that be fun if it kind of works out? Maybe we win a playoff game if we get there, right? And we end up playing the Steelers. Wouldn't that be cinema? Have a chance to play them for a second time this year, this time with Russell Wilson, if they're able to make it that far, right? I think that would be quite fun. All right, let's see if Cameron Dicker can make this kick here. Sorry if I'm spoiling this for you guys, but we'll see how this goes. And guys, I really would appreciate it as I'm giving this commentary if you can just like the video. That will really help out the channel. Really does help it out a lot. And barely got it in. So 7-6 halftime. Shout out to Brandon McManus for winning that game for the Packers yesterday as well. That was awesome. Man. Are the Lions still looking for an edge rusher? Hey, they might be. Baron Browning. And that would be great to get back like a pick and Tim Patrick. I think that would be kind of nice. But we need to do better than Tim Patrick after this season. That's my only caveat. Hey, thank you so much, Paul. I really do appreciate it. On the Dolphins note as well, I did see that like ESPN had an article talking about, potential trades that would make sense. And they had the Dolphins going for Bryce Young, trading for Bryce Young. That would be kind of interesting as like a quarterback rehab position. Maybe he could have a Sam Darnold like reemergence, or I guess emergence for the first time, since being in the NFL. Yeah, be interesting. Okay, guys. Well, I think I'm going to end this thing. Been going for like 20 minutes longer than I expected, but thank you guys so much for the interaction. I'm going to be back tomorrow. We'll go through next a sec. Let me count here real quick how many I'll take y'all through because I got a handful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, 15. 15 out of his 26 throws. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. So y'all be sure to hit that bell notification so you know when I'm dropping a video or going live. Thank you so much. This is going to be a great week for the Broncos. Let's get to 1-0 this week. Let's beat the Carolina Panthers. We can't overlook anybody, no matter how bad they are. We can't be memed. We got to do the meming. So thank you guys so much. As always, go Broncos.